I've never actually really played Path of Exile. I tried to play Path of Exile 1 a little bit, but every time I would end the campaign, I would just end up not playing because the game was too complicated. But PoE 2, it's way, way easier. So much that I actually decided to make my own build where I weave every one of the elements together. Fire, lightning, and ice, well, slash water. Not gonna have earth for now at least. And I pull them all together to make the Weaver Elementalist Monk Invoker build. So let's see if this build is as good, but also doesn't permanently die like Weaver does in Guild Wars 2. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. And let's get into it. So first of all, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to make a build that uses all of the elements. And the way that it works in Path of Exile is that you get the main gems, the skill gems. As you can see here, I have Templar's Fury, I have a Flame Wall, I have Ice Strike on the bottom, and I have Falling Thunder. Fire, Lightning, and Cold in the bottom. This one is kind of cut down, but regardless. And the point is that you can combine these abilities, you can use them together with different buttons, and you can put little support gems that will affect the main ability. For example, I can make the Flame Wall do more damage out of fire damage. I can make the Flame Wall do damage of electricity, or so on and so on. And this is how, end up making the build that I'm gonna show you right now. So remember to subscribe into Darren's Gaming if you want to check more content of PoE, because this is mainly Guild Wars 2 channel, so go there if you want that. So here is my build, of course, on Monk, as it's the main character that uses all the elements. As you can see here, the idea that I have, at least in order to do this, is get to unscatter them to the winds, because it'll make it so every one of my attacks produce icy waves, fiery explosions, and arcs of lightning. And then combining that with multiple different elemental damage buffs and other abilities, we can do a lot of damage while, getting all the elements together. Right now, I'm weaving only ice and electricity, and this all goes perfectly together because, of course, we have the Tempest Bell, which will, as soon as we attack it, it's gonna end up getting all of these attacks, all of these elements together in this bell. You can see that it was ice, lightning, and fire, doing a lot of damage and putting, all the conditions as well. Ignite, freeze, and of course, shock at the same time. All these things together there end up making a very, very good build and fun, which is honestly the biggest point. Now, there's also something else happening, which is that I have these power charges in order to infuse my weapon with lightning. As you're going to see right now, I'm going to press this, and you see that my lightning, my attack now are also wave attacks, as well as having lightning damage to it. But also infusing those attacks with fire, cold, and electricity. And the cool thing about this is that the more I attack, the more things I get, the more kills I get, the more charges I get, being able to keep this buff at all times ready for me, which is actually ideal, of course. And I'll explain to you how that ends up working. We also have this lightning attack that does this, and it's pretty cool as it just gets all the lightning in the floor. It consumes some of the charges, but because you're generating so many, it doesn't really end up mattering. Like, this attack does so much damage and it goes so far. It's very, very satisfying. Now, how is it actually working that I'm getting these beautiful stacks of power charges all the time? One also is the Siphoning Strike. This is essentially in an emergency. If the person gets shocked, if the enemy gets shocked, I can just press on it and I'll get one power charge. This is essentially not the automatic version, but it's in case something bad happens. Something, I need power charges and I'm not getting them. But the main thing is this very specific attack, this very specific skill, Profane Ritual. And what it does is that whenever you kill something and it leaves a corpse, you can press this button to consume the corpse and get a power charge in order to get your Quarterstaff procs, right? To get the buff. Now, the thing is, I have it cast on freeze, so every time I freeze something, it'll cast it automatically around the corpses that I have, which makes me be able to kill enemies over and over and over again without having to really pay attention to it, and always have these power charges automatically, which is super, super cool. Now, you can also go for cast on shock. For me, it ended up being better on freeze, because it's just, I don't know, freezing is just so much easier and faster, and I really, really like it. So for me, at least, it works very well with that, but you can do it in cast on shock. And if you're going to do that, you might actually want to go for your Tempest Flurry instead, which is essentially you doing the same it's a kind of auto attack, but instead of cold, you're inflicting lightning damage, giving you more possibilities of putting this shock, of course. This is actually the way that the main build that we have right now, Monk, where it's just lightning attack all the time, is working right now. Essentially the same setup, but without this combination of elements. I did some other things, of course, as well, but, you know, hey, you know, I ended up making this build on my own. I was kind of lucky that all the decisions that I was making were the same decisions that other people were making, which made me very proud, because it's the first time I'm playing anything game like this and actually making my own build. So I'm really happy with that. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I feel very powerful because of that. I feel very good. Oh, I also have flame wall in case I want to fire people, because for now I don't have anything to replace it. The only thing that I really want to get very soon is on Ice Strike. I want to get a very specific gem, which is skill number 3. That is gonna be, it's gonna essentially consume the frost, the freezing out of my enemies, because what happens is that if I kill an enemy that is frozen, it will shatter, not leaving a corpse. Therefore, I can use this specific ability. So if I actually get the support that essentially consumes the freezing out of them, that will never happen, and I still get the buffs of make them slower, and also the benefits from, I think it gives you like critical chance, or like every time they're frozen you get crits. So it's very, very good. Ideally that's gonna end up working. We're gonna have to test it a little bit. For the support gems, we have Quarterstaff with more cast speed, because honestly it takes a long time to actually, well, not a long time, but I just want it to be fast as fast as possible, because I don't want to deal with it. Perpetual change, you have a possibility of using the charges but not consuming them, which is super, super cool. So you can use 5 and it just nothing happens. Absolutely great. You have your Tempest spell with support any skills that has a duration, making the duration longer with persistence, because I just like having my Tempest spell and only one, but you can change it to overabundance to get multiple limits, multiple bells whenever you want. Actually pretty cool too, but I just don't like that. I also have Rage to support my attacks, causing them to grant Rage on hits. I actually want to change this to get something, but yeah, I'm actually not really that convinced with Rage. We'll figure something out, I think. Siphoning Strike is the one that I have, you know, for consuming the shock of someone to get a bit more power charge in case I need it. I have Innervate, because if I kill something, which I most likely will, because it does a lot of damage, it'll infuse me with a little bit more damage, lightning damage. It's not really that good. It only lasts for 3 seconds. I actually kind of I'm thinking about changing this. But hey, for now, that's what I have. Practice combo. Practice combo here is just to get more combo hits to get my Tempest Bell going if I really wanted to. But right now, honestly, it's also kind of I'm not really sure if I'm gonna go for that. I'm thinking about changing it too. It's very hard to get into the support skills because you just don't drop that much right now, which definitely sucks to make your build. For Falling Thunder, I have Magnified Effect to make the attack larger. As you can see, it was insanely large. Usually it's not that big. And I have Hourglass to make it have cooldown, but it does more damage. Because honestly, we're not going to be using this a lot, so the cooldown doesn't really matter. For Ice Strike, I have Martial Tempo to make it way, way faster, so it attacks faster. I have Conduction to make it more likely to shock. And of course, I also have a weapon that gives lightning damage. You can use your lightning infusion here instead to make it do more damage, but then it's going to be doing less cold damage. So ideally, you don't want that. As long as you're giving some sort of lightning damage, it'll proc the shock, so it doesn't really matter. That's my understanding, at least for it. And support strikes that perform a final strike with Crescendo will be able to do the second final strike again, which is actually pretty cool. Then you have Cast on Freeze to trigger our Profaned Ritual, and Impetus to make the energy that it requires to use, essentially the amount of times you have to freeze something to actually trigger less, and you have Profusion to make it so if you generate a charge, you generate more charges sometimes. 50% is actually pretty good, so there you go. I also got lucky, and my guild actually posted this in their they actually posted this in the guild stash, which is super good. 30% elemental damage from essentially every type of damage converts into something else. So essentially all of my attacks will be generating all of the elements. Fire, cold, and lightning, which is insanely good for what I want. And of course, insanely good whenever I get the second ascendancy to get to here and scram to the winds. Then I'll be absolutely blasting because everything's gonna be doing every element. So this is very lucky that I got this. Otherwise, it was working regardless. But it's just very good. For the passes, honestly, the main ones I think are the power charges ones. to get maximum power charges. This one right here is very, very good. This one right here is very, very good because sometimes you get, 5% chance that if you would gain power charges, you instead gain up the maximum. It's only 5%, but sometimes it triggers and it's very, very nice. I'm actually thinking about changing it, honestly, but it gives you one more maximum power charges and it's super close to anyways to most of the things in the tree, so I don't really mind getting it. Here, mana duration rate, if you have shocked an enemy recently, goes 25%. I never have problems with mana. 20% magnitude shock if you inflict, so doing more damage with shock. 30% increased elemental damage if you shocked an enemy recently. 30% increased elemental damage if you chilled an enemy recently. And very soon I'm gonna get Echoing Flames, 30% incremental damage if you have ignited an element recently, which is also very good because I'm gonna be doing that all the time. General Electric, actually, I'm gonna change this because I used it because I was going custom shock, but I'm no longer doing that. So I think if anything, I should be getting more frozen stuff. This is very good if you want castle. This is very, very good if you want cast on shock. But because you need more shock, and therefore, yeah, you're going and getting more. For me though, I don't think I'm gonna go for it. I think I'm gonna change it up. I want to get this anyways, and I want more attack speed, so we'll figure something out with that. I'll change it. And the other one is one with a storm. I really like this. Quarterstaff skills that consume power charges count as consuming an additional power charge. This means that whenever you're actually going for charge stuff and you get 4 stacks, if you have 5 maximum, which is what I have, you'll be getting 5 stacks instead. So you never want to get to 5. You want to always get 1 less than what you actually want. So it's very, very good. And all of these ones gives you more crits and also more attack speed with Quarterstaff. So I think it's definitely worth it. I'm actually thinking about going one with the river. Priest build up, stays build up, and stun build up. It gives me more attack speed with Quarterstaffs. Knock vex enemies if you get a critical hit with a Quarterstaff. This is very good, honestly. I think I'm gonna go here. It's very, very close to where I'm at anyways. I can just refund this and get 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then get this one here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Damn, I just realized making these videos are great. I always think about things when I'm doing it. Absolutely awesome. Great stuff. Eventually I probably will go back and get this anyways. Getting more shock is not bad. It's just that right now I need more power, and this one is not really doing anything. So there you go. But there you go. But for a new player, what should you be doing? Honestly, at the start of the game, this build is actually pretty good. There's certain specific spots that it becomes insanely bad, but it seems like Monk is just bad at those spots, like at the end of Act 2. But hey, it is what it is. You can't have it all, and I'm sure this is gonna get balanced eventually anyways. But what you actually want to go for at the start is Glacial Cascade. This attack is so good. You can just abuse this, just attack with this. You'll freeze anyone around you, and guess what? Also, you are gonna end up being range at all times. This is very, very good for bosses, very, very good early game. I'm just mainly use this to attack everyone and not, get attacked myself to survive a little more. Absolutely good. Great. As soon as you get Ice Strike, I started using Ice Strike and stopped using Glacial Cascade. And I don't recommend Tempest Fury early game because freezing them is just so much better. Like, yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of lightning attack, but you can get yourself some lightning attack with a Storm Rune, for example, to shock them anyways. So is it really that big of a deal? I don't think so. Of course, getting the bell at the start of the game is absolutely great. Not only is it very, does a lot of damage, but also blocks enemies. So if there's like a little hallway, just like this little place right there, right here, you can just put the bell. They can't attack you, and you can just attack the bell, and everything around you will die. It's absolutely insanely good. Then afterwards, whenever you get Charged Staff, you can start using your Killing Palm, which will essentially kill enemies with a little bit of health. 30% of health, and they will give you a power charge. So you can just go around killing enemies with your, do a bit of Ice Strike, a little bit of damage like that. Use your Killing Palm on them, and then use the power charge that you get for Charge Staff, and just continuously do this over and over again until you get your Profane Ritual that you can use to just eat the corpses, get power charges away, and eventually you get Cast on Freeze that triggers on Profane Ritual, and that way you get the power charges automatically. And of course, also you have Profane Ritual, which will mark a corpse with a Profane Rune, and eventually it'll suck the life out of it, well, the death out of it, and give you a power charge. This is the main. You can actually not have a Cast on Freeze. You can just have this already like here, and this way you can just press the button on little corpses to get the charges, even if you don't want to do it automatically, and then you can just continuously play the game and have no issues. Because at the end of the day, Cast on Freeze, it's very late in the game. Profane Ritual is not that long into the game. It's pretty long into the game. You need to be level 31, but you know, it's definitely doable. So overall, as you're leveling up, start with Glacial Cascade. This applies for most monk builds anyways. Get your Tempest Bell, and as soon as you can move into your Ice Strike, continue this until you can actually get your Ascension. And also, of course, are casting Profane Ritual to get power charges and get your Quarterstaff to do way more damage. But yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna be continuously trying this out more. If you wanna check out how I do that, go into twitch.tv/This so you can see my insane journey to try and make this build work. If you have any recommendations on things I could do better, definitely. I've never, you know, as I said before, I'm a new player. I wanna make a new an interesting build because that's interesting to me, and I'm gonna have to learn along the way. If I have anything wrong, I'm sure I have some things wrong here. Just let me know and I'll try and fix them. Regardless, that's what I did. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I inspire you guys to try your own build, or maybe try this one as well. And obviously, you can always respec in this game, so it's really not that big of a deal anyways. But there you go. See you guys around. Go to my Ko-Fi to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live and check this build out and try and make this work. And see you guys around. Love you all.